right, hello. Welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging and Friends. We are back tonight playing more Otherscape down in the Arizona Bay.
Hey, B.
There, hey, look at you with all your. Yeah, that's good. Oh, geez, there it is. Okay.
It doesn't actually match my character though, so like I should really that's Melissa's version. But I feel like I need to adopt like a Verona version.
It up, yeah.
B. Melissa's doing a Keanu Reeves character in our, was it Han Cluster? I think it was.
Han Cluster, yeah.
Yeah, she's basically doing a Keanu Reeves impressions. It's pretty hilarious. Like it takes her a while to get through everything she wants to say. And it's just like I'm cracking up. So it's taking forever. I don't know what I asked, so I don't know what she said. It's pretty
funny. It just takes so long.
Okay, we don't got time for this shit.
Get it out.
I wanted to point out, Jeremy had like Jeremy, your face work is pretty fantastic. It's one of the reasons why I collected your faces all those years. When we were going live, you had a very fuck this world kind of face on, and then we go live and all of a sudden, boom, big smile. This man who understands the importance of face. Good. So if I could give you a Benny, I'd give you a Benny, because that's what I was doing.
Shucks.
It's a different game. So there you go.
That's okay.
Yeah. So how we doing? Everyone feeling good? Everyone excited? Everyone ready to play?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, good. Let's see how quickly I can get rid of that excitement. Let's start it up. Let's go. So what are we on? We're on episode 17 already. So we've already played 17 sessions and 16 sessions, and we had our session 0. So we've been playing this for 4 months. Is that about right? Does that sound right? 4 or 5 months?
Something like that.
Okay. So that's crazy. All right. So last time around, it was mostly downtime. So last session, we mostly just kind of did little things here and there, did some healing, did some shopping, etc. You got a bonus from La Loba because of how well you guys handled the Circuit Heights gig. At one point, Mallory and Rika, you paid a visit to Caden Harlow's family. Caden Harlow's like our version of RoboCop. You met his daughter and his wife, Lika and Becca. You passed along some details. You promised some help if you could offer it, etc. Eventually, Mallory, you actually received a message through an old back channel, and it was from a former member of an eco-terrorist cell you had. You named them Lucky, and it seems that Lucky ran into some trouble with a new gig that they're on. They hired some what he referred to as dryads to take him across the Dead Mesa into the Badlands to delve into an overrun Demeter Corp facility. So in our world, Demeter Corporation was an agricultural corp, that something terrible happened in the Badlands, and now the Badlands are uninhabitable. They're just this awful, terrible place. That's why they're called the Badlands. And so your friend Lucky delved into some sort of black site that Demeter Corp had, hoping to find some things they can kind of put the last nail in Demeter Corp's coffin. Lucky believed that the facility was finally accessible, but their info apparently was wrong, as he and his allies got overrun. And then he decided to put himself into some kind of hidden cryo chamber to try to hide out and wait for rescue. And he sent this message out in the hopes that it would find you, his old friend. All right. And that was basically last time. I was we ended the episode basically with the hook, right? For the for this new kind of mission job, however we're calling it, gig. So let's start it up there. So Mallory, I'm going to pick it up right with you. You've just got this message. You've just kind of looked through it. And again, it's a recorded message. It's not live. So there's no back and forth. And the last thing you heard from this person was hurry up, something's coming to get us. And then they quickly cut off communication. So Mallory, in that moment, is there anything that you would be doing or anyone you'd be contacting? Is there anything that you want to do to follow up on that?
Mallory would just go out to where everyone else is, or if he's not there, he would go to the base where everyone is. He's like, hey, am I a part of this crew now? Am I are we good? Everything.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
Can I get some help then?
Yes. Do you need to move in a bed or something, or I could pile up some leaves for you? Or
that actually, yeah, but that's not what I need. So I got this guy that like I did him like a job on a plastics factory with, and he's in trouble. So I'd like to go help him, but I don't know if I could do it myself. So y'all want to come with me to the Badlands?
Sure.
I mean, I'd rather like it there.
Good,
I've never been.
like
That sounds awesome.
like he sent me this message, and like I'll show him.
Okay. So he plays the message for you. You see everything. You see a face. It's a little scraggly. It's mostly voice more than anything else. And like you can definitely tell there's a ton of interference. And so it's mostly just like audio packets and such. And so that's where you're at. Now this is a gig that Mallory's picking up. This isn't necessarily something that Loba's given you to pay. But this is more just like rescuing of an old friend. So we're kind of in this phase where you guys can try to gather some information if you wanted to. So if we want to kind of get back to this format a little bit. So remember that gather information is one of like it's sort of one of the things you can do pre-load up phase. So like if there's things that you wanted to try to learn, and it could be anything from like recalling stuff you already know, doing research, contacting, backing, if there's anything like that you can think that you would want to do in order to make your setup for this next gig better, and maybe inform your load up choices even more, stuff like that. Now is the time to do it. So it's not you don't have to do it. It's just if anyone has something that they would want to kind of follow up on here, or like ask questions about, or see if their character already knows, now's a really good time to do it.
Yeah.
My first question is I don't know if this is information that Mark would already have or would have to go out and get, but essentially I would like to know if there are live security things in the Badlands. Like, are there drones?
Sure.
Are there patrols?
Right. That's an excellent question. Okay, so why don't we do, because you said you haven't been there before, so you're probably just working by rumor. So if you want, like you can try to do a pool. You can try to, and like for each point of power you spend, I can give you a piece of information. Right, is kind of something to expect. So if you wanted to try to like recall information, or if you wanted to try to research, like you could like actually get onto one of the some sort of public domain across the bay and see if you can get other people's reports, like, and especially current reports. Like Garrick has been on the edge of Badlands before. Like that's where he kind of retreats back to. But from what Mallory probably learned from his friend, like this is a much deeper into like the really horrible places, the heart of darkness kind of areas, right?
Right.
So if you think there's how would Rika go about trying to like collect that information or uncover that kind of content?
So what I think about this world is that people who sort of live on the fringe of legality, like mercs like us, are it's kind of a smallish community. Like a lot of people know of each other if they don't know each other and that kind of thing. So I wonder if I might use our crew tag for local contacts and guides and ask like a fellow mercenary who may have recently done a gig in or around the Badlands.
I think that sounds perfect.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I think this is perfect. Is there any other tag that you want to tap into as well?
I was looking at what I have and I don't feel like I have anything. Like maybe worked on neutral jobs because I've worked security, but that feels like something that could maybe come into play later. But right now I can't think of.
I mean, it's a social interaction, so I don't see any reason why you couldn't like tap into like impossibly good looks as a way to like get somebody to stuff like that. Like it's sort of like using your charisma based stuff would work.
Well, if you can will my role kind of identify who I end up speaking to, or is that something you can let me know now? Because that
I would say
I want to know if I should flavor my interaction.
I would want to see if you succeed first before we worry about that.
Okay.
So,
in that case, then I'm gonna go to either Golden Palm, which is the Merc Market, or the Imperial, which is like the bar that Rika has, the Merc bar that Rika has a regular at, and maybe be charmingly casual with another regular here. And I don't know if impossibly good looks will get them to talk to me, but definitely I'm gonna tap it to dazzle and impress, because I would like to come across as someone who is
right. I don't understand the reticence surrounding possibly good looks. Like, good looking people get treated differently, so like we have studies that actually support that scientifically.
I know.
So yeah, like
I know.
It's a tag-based game. Use your tags.
Yeah,
and then...
I don't know. I started I guess. so if I'd love to like be flirty and impressive. And
okay, well, let's put the pool together and let's roll, and then we'll see your results, and then we'll kind of go from there.
Okay, cool. So I'm using impossibly good looks, dazzle and impress, and local contacts and guides. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 total.
Okay, 10 total. All right, so you use 3, right? So that means you can basically get 3 bits of information. Like, you can get 3 kind of bits of crucial information because you have 3 power to spend. So if you're using like the discover effect, you're essentially 1 power per basically bit per detail. You also, if you wanted to, you could take an optional consequence to get a 4th bit of detail, but that's up to you. Okay, so if you're in the Imperial, we'll say you get to drinking with some local merc. Now, in terms of like the network, like the small society, I think that's only true on a district to district level. Like, it's a mega city, so I think you guys probably don't know who is like who are the major players like in other districts, but in your own district of the Stacks, I think you would probably know some people. So we'll say you meet with a merc. We'll call him Crawford, and he's somebody who runs his own crew, and they often do like border runs, and so they dip in and out of the Badlands from time to time, but they don't get too far. But the things that he'll tell you, the things that you have to really be concerned with, there's no like active security, like regular security sweeps by Demeter Corp anymore. Definitely, if you get into some of their facilities, depending on where you go, there could be some still lingering like AI or AI controlled or systems controlled security, but it's not like they're sweeping around in the middle of the Badlands. So that's 1 bit of detail. The second thing, the thing that they tell you probably that you have to be really concerned with are the spore storms. So Demeter Corp had whatever they did, and there's no real understanding of exactly what they did because all of that's been hushed away. But whatever they did is really affected the environment. And it also has given rise to like these spore storms, like these big dust storms, but they carry and throw around all these different spores, which can kind of poison people from time to time and cause not only poison, but it throws these spores in these different locations. And once they interact with whether it's people or tech or animals or other sort of like vegetation, it causes mutations. It's like mutagenic spores. So that's the second detail. And then they would also warn you about like marauders, not to be confused with dryad hunting parties. Like, marauders are just assholes. Dryad hunting parties, like, they can be assholes, but they can also be your friend if you're if you're okay, like if you handle, if you're a decent enough person and like you treat the environment well, you'll be fine. But there's a big difference, and people confuse the two all the time. So you just have to make sure you know who you're dealing with. So those are the things that you would get from asking.
You
around.
mentioned that I might get a fourth with a consequence.
Sure. Yeah.
Can I get a fourth and have a consequence?
Sure. So I'm going to give you two pieces of information then. One of them is going to be true. One of them is going to be false. Okay?
Okay.
All right. So the two details you get are he kind of tells you a story about these he doesn't really know exactly what to call them, but they kind of look like coyotes, like they're packs of coyotes, and that they have this tendency to kind of mutate and grow and shift. And one time he heard a story about them kind of just coalescing and merging into one giant coyote. The other thing he tells you is that there are like these giant saguaro cacti, like there's huge kind of like redwood kind of forest out there that are just, well, if you listen to some of the stories, like they're sentient.
Holy shit. Okay. Those both intense.
All right.
The truth
One of those.
and a lie. Which one?
One of those is true. One of those might not be accurate. Okay. So while Rika is down at the Imperial getting some info, is anybody else doing any kind of information gathering here?
Yeah.
Okay, Joe.
As much as Clover wants to help someone out of the goodness of his heart, he doesn't. So he's looking for other jobs that might be potentially up in the area. Anything else, like just kind of mercenary work, anything posted that people are paying for. Because he imagines not a lot of people want to go to the Badlands, but people might want stuff done in the Badlands.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so put a pool together for me, and this will determine the quality of the job you get.
Okay.
If we're going there anyway.
Yeah, I was thinking investigator.
I like it. Makes sense.
Knowledge of occult.
Okay.
Those are probably the only two that really.
Mm-hmm. And I would say
work.
like Mitra did, tap into leads and contacts, like because that's one of the things that you have.
Oh yeah, the crew tag. Yeah. I would say lead the contacts. Maybe source hunting privateers, because that's like kind of the stuff that we do too.
Yeah, I think so.
So if there's any source stuff,
I mean that'll be source. That'll be a very specific kind of job.
Yeah, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
So put together.
I think I have all things clicked right, and then
Go for it. We shall find out. All right. It's 11.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it's pretty good. So you've got 4 that you used, right?
Yes.
So I would say we can spend 2 of that to create like a story tag that gets you like a second job. Okay. So as you are digging around the whatever kind of like merc recruiting domains you have access to, you do see there are some postings for the Badlands, but most of them are kind of similar to what like I was just describing with Crawford. These little border runs, like people who just kind of go over the edge, kind of go as far as like a Garricus does. Sometimes it's just kind of collecting biosamples from the strange ecology that has mutated there. You see one pop up, and maybe Clover, this one pops up for multiple reasons, but you see a memory mining company called Synaptical, this corporation. And they're over in Sweet Release. They're in the Neuroclave, which is like this run of kind of this commercial district where really the only kind of industry that's there is the idea of of memory mining. And they seem to believe that there is one of the reasons that everything went to shit for Demeter Corp isn't because of their tech. It's because they were trying to fuse their tech with some kind of source touched item. And something that they believe is has kind of granted a lot of this sort of fungal ecology sentience. They want you to go to, like, they're kind of looking for teams to kind of bring us like either the source itself or a sample of that source or a sample of like this like the root or the nexus point of some of these like ecological clusters of fungal entities.
Okay.
So that would be your secondary job.
Sweet.
And then if we want, we could say for the other two, we could just kind of do the same thing. Like we can make it like lucrative. Like we can say it's like a highly lucrative job, which means like if you guys succeed, you'll get another one of them flush with credits kind of things at the end or something like that. How's that sound?
Ooh, yeah, I'm good with both of that.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So 2 for 1. All right, fantastic. Anybody else got some stuff that they wanted to do?
Yeah.
Adam, go ahead.
I think I want to reach out to some of my old contacts along the eco-terrorist route to see if I can find out any information about the Meter Core and if anyone else had heard about like what Lucky was trying to do. And because like, I imagine they probably wouldn't like Demeter Core very much because like they're named after a Greek goddess of nature, and like if they're doing bad things to nature, maybe. So be disaster survivor, eco-terrorist, and then I am reaching out to local contacts and guides.
Yep.
But this whole mission is because of my individual ambitions. So
that's true.
I think that would be
good weakness.
Hey.
Use. I think that makes perfect sense. Yeah, absolutely. Okay. That sounds great. Yeah, put that together. Give me that roll. Let me see how you do.
Okay. Let's see here.
2 with a minus 3 with a -1, so net of 2, I think, is what we're looking at, right? Okay.
And then here we go.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Well, at least it's not Snake Eyes.
So wait.
At least.
So I think you did. I think you put him in wrong. Did you tap into a status? It looks like you tapped into status. Here, we can look at it now, can't we?
Yeah, that's weird. It's +3, -1.
I don't know why it's giving you a -1. Yeah, that should be a 6. It's the same thing, but the numbers were wrong. So yeah, it's gonna be a 6. Okay. What you discover, Mallory, is as you reach out to a lot of your eco-terrorists, like other members of your former cell that you used to work with, that you guys kind of scattered, shit went bad, right? So, like we've heard a little bit about it. Some like the Bay job that you all had, you mentioned a plastic job. Things went bad. Things got too hot. You all kind of scattered to the wind. You still kind of keep in touch with those back channels here and there. As you start trying to reach out to other members of that crew, strangest thing, you can't find any of them. Like none of them are popping up anywhere. Like you try everything. You try going back to like sisters and mothers and like of the people that and you just can't track down anyone. When you talk to some of like your old crew's like family members, they say, oh yeah, so and so, yeah, we haven't seen them for months, or we haven't heard from them for weeks. We thought they were in prison, things like that. So you haven't really like you're not only are you coming up dry, right? But you're like there's literally no one out there to kind of give you support here. And then I have a little narrative consequence that might pop up later, and that's essentially what you're.
Oh, fun!
Went higher register. There we go. I like it.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then Jeremy, I saw you kind of wavering. You might have something.
I've got an idea. It's maybe not a smart idea, but it's definitely what I'll do.
I like it.
I mean, so one of my things from my troubled past, I was a science experiment out there. So that might be a basis of some knowledge for the area. And part of my psychic blast is based on like that weird group consciousness that the fungus have. So maybe not so much like an attacking psychic blast, but maybe get somewhere near the perimeter and kind of do like he won't be able to get like, they're not going to talk back to him, but he might get some sort of response from the vegetation out there, like if there's
I like it.
a hot spot or something like that.
Yeah.
But I think I should tap a problem for myself for doing that because I am chased by the corpse, so doing this might alert something.
I think that seems very fair. Absolutely.
Okay, so science experiment, psychic blast, and chased by corpse. And
Okay.
then quick.
You can do this as tracked extras because this is basically
Tracked extra, I see.
Yeah.
There we go. Yep, I rolled garbage. There we go.
Wow.
That's how
So
this
it's
goes.
4 plus. Okay. Okay. So I'll say this. You have kind of a similar experience of Mallory in some way. Like it hasn't been that long. I think it was before the Circuit Heights gig. You had kind of come out to your little spot that's kind of just over the border because you guys live in the southern corridor of the smokestacks, and you kind of which is right on the border of the Badlands. You go just over the border, you find your spot, and it's like, most normal people would probably find where you go and what you do a little unnerving, but for you, it seems fine. When you kind of go to your usual spot, you feel though something feels very off to you. The normal ways that you sort of reach out and synergize with the bits of nature and the various like infected growths over here, it's not so much that things are like quiet. It's just you can tell that they have like a different voice to them. Like they seem closed off to you. They seem suddenly untrusting of you. They seem as though like you now are outsider for some reason. And like nothing kind of computes. It just doesn't really make sense. And like you can still see some of the growth, but they like recoil away from you. You can still sense the fact that there's a presence here, like this sort of fungal network of sorts. But it doesn't seem to let you in and communicate with it. So go ahead and give yourself, as consequence, a status, outsider 2.
All right.
Okay. All right. Verana or Ivan, did either of you want to do anything? And heard from you all?
I don't know. Did you have
No is
anything?
a perfectly fine answer. I was just wanted to give you
I
guys the
have
opportunity.
Suggestions for other people if they want to do stuff.
Wow. Joe's just playing everyone's characters for them.
Playing everyone's character. Min-maxing the party.
Guys, the rest of you can
I'm
go.
trying.
Joe and I are just going to hang out.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
What I was hoping to do, and this is a little bit of a follow up to Rika. So if it's okay that she kind of has shared the information. So I was curious about
I'm fine with that.
these spore storms.
Yeah.
So if we're going to be traveling and we may have to contend with these spore storms, Rana wants to kind of try to do some research and see if she can kind of find ways for us to help protect ourselves from those spore storms.
Sure.
So I'm looking at like medical training, access to occult tomes. So kind of trying to see from the medical side of things, from the occult side of things, if there's something that she can do to kind of help keep us protected from that.
I like it. It's very good. Yeah, put that pool together, give it a roll. I think that's a really good idea. As they're basically dust storms. At pretty much every game I run, at some point we're gonna hit a dust storm.
It's the blight.
I've been told that's just the thing I like to do, is I like to do dust storms. I really like dust storms. They're pretty fun. So, all right, how'd we do? Well, that looks like a good roll.
Was it called the blight
yeah,
and holler?
It's called the Blight and Holler. Now, to be fair, we were
That was
playing pre-made
Tracy.
campaign there. That was Tracy.
Yeah.
That was pre-existing.
Well, it was Tracy. It was Tim too. Yeah, Tim Riley. Okay.
Yep.
Just
So
talked
that
to
is
Tracy
at
the other day.
2 power.
Okay, phenomenal. Excellent roll. Okay, so you would I'm gonna say I'm just gonna give you a couple things for free. But you can spend your 2 power tag if you want to. Well, we can kind of create a story tag for the crew.
Okay.
We can do something like inoculated, maybe.
Yeah.
But what you do learn is like the spores that are floating around in the storm, they are pretty invasive. And not only do they affect like other ecology, other biological organisms, they affect tech. And it has caused significant trouble in creating any kind of filtration systems. Every filtration system that any company has ever made has had trouble with it. That's one of the reasons why Demeter Corp hasn't yet regained a lot of their stuff, because they can't get in there without like all of their gear just kind of going to shit. There are some steps you could take to potentially inoculate the group from some of those effects. It's not necessarily going to prevent everything, but it could slow exposure, could slow any kind of like mutagenic properties that might be in the spores if they infect you. So like you have the ability. So we'll go ahead and create a story tag and we'll just say like spore inoculation. Just put that down, and that'll be something the whole crew can tap into if certain things befall you, right? As a defensive mechanism.
Sweet.
Awesome.
Yeah, to
Awesome,
mitigate
awesome.
consequences. Okay. Fantastic. Clover, were you going to tell Chuck what to do, or?
That was along the lines of what I was hoping someone would do, is like some sort of protective thing.
I saw Joe nodding vigorously, so I thought I might have hit his to-do list.
Yeah, that's pretty close to what I was hoping someone would do. Yeah.
Okay.
Chuck, would you like to play your own character?
Yeah.
I really don't have anything to do. I was thinking
That's
they were
totally
talking
fine.
about dryads and stuff, and I'm like, I don't know shit about that nature magic. Like,
It's true.
I'm just gonna go light some shit on fire, save the day. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
good to go.
I like it. All right, then. Well, let's go ahead and do load up. So you guys have some inoculation. Let's just walk through load up again. It's been a little while. So basically, all of your loadout tags start burned. You get 1 power by default to get one of those back to carry with you. If any of you still have flush with credits remaining, each status you burn, each tier of a status you burn from that, you can get an extra power if you wanted to bring something else. So if you wanted to like drain your flush with credits here, I would be fine with that. And unless anyone's taken any upgrades, I don't think anyone took any loadout upgrades yet. So right now it should just be the 1. All right. So we see
What would have
montage
reduced
scene.
the flush with credits? Is it if we
Using
used it
it
at all?
to buy something.
Using
Okay.
it. Yeah. Every time you tap into it, it would have been reduced by 1.
Okay, I bought drones, so it would be 2 right now then?
We got it too. That's correct.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Oh no,
all
I
right.
deleted it.
So the other thing I should say, we haven't mentioned this before, this might be useful to you this time, is that if you wanted to, if you're not sure what to bring, you can always take a wild card tag. It costs 2 power to do so. It basically means that you're not picking yet. It's just sort of like a wild card. And when the time comes, you can sort of assign what that is when a situation demands it. But it does cost 2 power to do that. So if you have extra power from flush with credits, you might be able to actually use that now. So, all right.
Cool.
Okay. So let me ask you all a question then. How are we getting into the Badlands? Is there, how are we getting in there?
Doesn't Clover have a van?
He
I do
does.
have a van, so I can bring that as one of mine.
Okay. All right. So you're gonna be driving into the Badlands in your mystery machine. Okay.
Yep,
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Road trip.
the whole game.
Okay. All right. The other thing I would say is that in the message that you got, Mallory, your friend Lucky mentioned hiring some dryads. So Eric has probably already know this, I would think, from his time, but some of you might have heard this mentioned, like Rika, it probably came up in your conversation with Crawford, or there's the northwest section of the Badlands is sort of like this extended, they call it, this is basically an extended desert where there's really not a whole lot there. There's a couple different facilities, like ruins of facilities and stuff. Really, there's nothing active going on, at least not on the books, not on the news. But there is like a kind of nomadic group of people who travel about. And one of the things they do is they can actually help travelers, like if people are kind of going from one place to the next. So that sounds like what they were doing. You guys could do that if you want to try to seek them out, or you could just say, screw that, and we're gonna figure this out ourselves. So what do you think the group would do as we load up into the mystery machine?
I'd be for it.
Are there still is there any infrastructure remaining, like roads and all that, or like how wastelandy is it?
Yeah, Agaricus, you would know that because you go there. There are roads. They're overrun. They're not kept in great shape. Think of this like a post-apocalyptic setting, like where you can still see the remains of buildings, but it's like overgrown. In some cases, in other cases, like it's rubble. So it really has that kind of vibe to it as you traverse.
Okay.
Is your van one of the ones where all the wheels drive? The
Yes.
4-wheel type?
Yes, it is.
You'll want that. It's going to be very rough getting there, at least the places I know. And if we go even deeper, we might have to carry the van for stretches.
Noted.
It's not that heavy, is it?
I really hope we don't have to carry the van.
I think it's about the same weight as any other van, so yes, very heavy.
I've never tried to pick one up.
You should go give it a test.
I should.
It's right there if you want to try and lift it.
He's going to do a terrible job.
God dang it. Roll a test. Give me a quick outcome test. If you fail, you're getting a hernia. That's your consequence.
I really should.
Warning
It's so dumb. I think I've got both the brute strength and also kind of the mass, so to speak. I've got an impressive physique. I might sprout some vines, kind of give myself leverage, multiple points.
Oh, that's cheating.
It is. But, I mean,
That's
you use.
cheating.
But you can apply the force in different directions.
No, yeah,
that
go
way.
ahead. Go ahead. Give yourself. Okay,
I don't
that's fine.
know.
Rona's going to look over to Rika and be like, do you think
God,
he's
this is so dumb.
misunderstanding caravan? Do you think he just doesn't
Okay,
know?
see, this is where I'm just going to keep rolling
to help
garbage.
him.
Just fill myself up with extra problems just for joking around. Because this is why this is a game where normally I avoid rolling.
Yeah.
Because rolling is bad for you in this game.
Okay.
Oh, that's so funny.
You succeed in
7.
doing this. You no doubt succeed at doing this. But go ahead and give yourself thrown out back, or like back thrown 1, a status. Just 1 status if your back is just a little thrown out. Just a little ting.
Tweaked it.
Okay. Well, it can be done.
After Mal's like, hey, you need any help?
Next
After
time,
he,
yes.
drops
I
it.
think that would be a good idea.
All right, next time.
Standing off in the side, snickering.
Next time, let me know before you try. All right.
Mm-hmm. You
I got
really
you.
know I had a spine.
All right. So you guys all do your load up. You gotta get it all figured out. Everyone figured out what they're bringing with them. Okay, fantastic.
Yeah.
So
I just bought this suit. I'm wearing it.
Okay. Are you
I don't
really
care.
wearing this shirt? Ariana's like, it's like,
That's not really what it's for, but if it makes you happy, then that's fine.
Can't
Are
be
you
I
that
able
want
to
to see you smile.
Oh, thank you.
for
okay.
loadout tags?
Yeah,
Are you able to burn them and get the how does that work? Because they're burned already.
yeah. So burned all basically what it is like it's a way of limiting what you can take with you.
Right.
So them being
Well,
burned means
because you can burn if they get burned automatically at the end of a mission. Like, what are you able to burn a loadout tag in the same way as like a normal tag
During
to
a
get
mission?
the
Yeah.
+3?
Yeah,
Okay.
you can, and we've done it before. I think Mallory did that a couple times. Once with his kicker deck that he has.
Okay.
But yeah,
And it just means you wouldn't be able to use it
Just means you
For
wouldn't
the
be able to
rest.
use it until we find a legitimate reason for why you would regain it.
Okay.
Okay. So the crew gets together. You all meet up at your headquarters. You see Clover in one of the garages of the old auto mechanics garage that you're at. You see everyone's loading up your stuff. There's 6 of you, so you should all fit. When you have left, that's like 6.5. But it's a pretty big van. There's lots of gear in it though, right, Clover? Isn't it like this is like a type of place where like you can actually sit and do work in here and access domains?
Right.
And
Yeah.
whatnot?
It's kind of like my mobile workshop for my gunsmithing and stuff. So it's got a lot of tools and things in it for that.
Okay. All right. So it's kind of an uncomfortable tight fit for the 6.5 of you as you all hunker down into the van and you start heading east. And I mean, we could say since you're going in alone, since you're doing it, since you're going to navigate yourselves, maybe we'll just Garricus knows the way at least at the very beginning of this, and we'll kind of start there. So we'll see like you all just as like a little transition shot of you all loading up, driving out. You see these, populated streets and different stacks within the southern corridor. There isn't like a stark border between the stacks and the Badlands where like you can't come or go, but there's definitely warning signs. Like you can see those flashing left and right, like where certain it's like certain places where like public resources aren't going to respond for help or this or that. So like you're on your own after a certain point. So you definitely see a lot of warnings about where you're headed. The initial drive, like, the first 45 minutes or so into the drive as you cross the border isn't like at all difficult. As Agaricus can kind of point you as far as he knows, which is again over the border, but not like all the way to the center of the Badlands itself. Garicus, as you're traveling, maybe periodically you start like trying to tap into this. You see like a little small, strange looking rodent type creature, like stick its head up out of this sun scorched ground. And you try to reach out to it. It has that same kind of like reluctance, reticence, like just kind of pushes you away. And you see it dip down underneath. You see some swaying trees and you realize the trees themselves, they're not bark, right? They're not leaves. It's just like this tall fungal growth. And you realize as you get closer that it's not actually a tree, but it used to be some kind of telephone pole or power line pole that is just now holding this swirl of this dark brown fungus on it. At a certain point, though, the terrain does begin to it levels out in some ways, but in other ways, you can tell that the roads themselves become harder and harder to traverse, and you can see that the sky is like this dark burnt orange, and you can see these wisps of clouds that are moving about at far too fast a pace than you're probably familiar with. You don't even really see sky that often, I would say, in some of the city neighborhoods. So you're at this point where you're effectively just trying to navigate, and so what we're really doing here is we're kind of in a what's called a hazard zone. So if you guys remember, those of you who've played it, Heart, like the Delve, if you remember that, we're kind of in that sort of vibe, or you guys are traveling through this dense and unfamiliar terrain, and you're pushing further and further, and you're trying to kind of get to where you need to go. You're trying to traverse it. And so at a certain point, you notice and you spot on the distance this large structure. It looks like a skyscraper at first, and which is kind of peculiar, especially to you, Agaricus, because you don't think these things are really, here anymore. And you realize as you get closer, there's a couple more. And for a second, it almost looks like you're traveling through this dense megacity. But then you realize that they are not, in fact, buildings, but instead are these gargantuan saguaro cacti, massive. They're literally like 20 stories, 30 stories tall. You can see these different branching arms going this way and that. They are like this dark green. The ground beneath them is scorched and it is dry and uneven. You can see the road has long fractured, and trying to drive on it, Clover, is proving to be extraordinarily difficult. And every time you stop to try to maybe get out or kind of push the van out of like a little crevice, maybe get stuck in, you feel a very palpable bit of electricity in the air. Anyone who steps out of the van, even for a moment, you see anybody who has hair, it just begins to kind of lift up and higher and higher. Same on your arms or anywhere else. And some of your equipment, your navigational equipment in the van, Clover, starts to kind of go haywire. It gets on the fritz. Then you hear like this thunder, and you look up and you see it's just wispy clouds still. You don't see where it's coming from. And then another thunder. And then one after the other. And so this is where we're at, and I'm going to throw it to you all as you guys are kind of at the start of what looks like a run of these massive gargantuan cacti. There's thunder that's sounding. The road is cracked up, and your navigational devices seem to be suffering some kind of interference from what you're not entirely sure. So I'm going to throw it to you all. Who wants to kind of take a spotlight here and try to figure something out or figure out a way past, or how do we want to handle this?
Rika, didn't you tell us something about this?
Yeah, these I wouldn't even know how to check, but these might be sentient.
I can check. Because Verona has sense life force. So that is a thing that she can do, is see if they are
wouldn't
alive.
They can still be alive, just not sentient, right? Can you check sentience? You can check if they're
Verona was
alive.
really excited, and
Is
then
it a
she was
different
like,
flavor?
I'm sorry.
Oh.
I'm sorry. That's
No.
Yeah, it's
must
check
have
life
been a
force,
jerk.
not check, intelligence quota.
I'm sorry,
No,
Mel.
you're right. No, it totally fits, Ron. I would be like, no, that's fine. Let me know if somebody needs something.
Oh, you can, just and she excitedly, she sees that she's in front of you really bad. She's like, I've been texting with this really cute guy Crawford that I met. You can help me figure out what to say to him. And she'll try to make Farna feel a little better and more included by texting with Crawford.
So as you try to communicate with him, you're not getting any signal back to the stacks. Whatever interference is happening on the van is definitely causing some trouble. You're getting intermittent connection drops. You're not you think a message gets sent out, but you're not sure. You see that kind of looping thing where it's just I hit send, but it's still looping. Did it go through? That kind of thing. And then there's the loudest drum of thunder you've had yet, and it shakes the van. And you can see that one of the windows, Clover, suddenly has a small crack in it from the reverberation, the force of the reverberation. What do you want to do?
What I'd like to do, just as sort of testing, is I'd like to tap into my alternate face og and see if the interference is just with communication or all tech.
Okay. Your basic equipment, your tags and things that you have. So I would say if you're just no roll necessary, this is the type of thing where if you tap into your systems, there's probably a hair of a delay more than you're used to, but it still functions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
It seems more whenever you're trying to, it's more navigational and communication. Whenever you're trying to sense which way you're going, then it does seem to be the van's still running. It's just more trying to find nav software that's working.
Okay. So that's what she's gonna say out loud. She's I just did this test and it seemed to be okay, but I can't get a hold of Crawford.
And you guys feel yet another this thunderish and now the entire window starts to shatter and break, and you see little pieces drop down.
Have we seen any flashes of light?
No, you have not. Like, you actually haven't seen it. Like, that's why the thunder seems to just be like originating from who knows where.
Gareth,
we are getting
you're
like
from this neighborhood, right? Have you heard anything about these cacti?
No, the being, I mean, I don't want to call them rude. I mean, that would be assumptive of me, but it just seems we're not on speaking terms right now. Maybe there's a giant potato somewhere nearby. You know, the massive conduction of electricity and the thunder that follows.
Sounds like a very godly
Yeah.
identity. One who probably wouldn't like heretical or blasphemous behavior.
So
I should have been giant potatoes, and I should have killed Jeremy's character. That's what I
It
should
would
have
be
done.
great. It would be totally
Revenge.
well-served.
Like 2 years, 3 years, however long it's been.
Yeah.
We're talking about a different game. Different game. Chuck ran for us a while back. Clover, you were going to say something. I'm sorry. What were you going to say?
Yeah. So there's like electrical interference and staticky stuff. I want to try to ground the van a little bit. So I imagine the van has like a tow hook kind of thing on the back.
I like it.
And I've got a bunch of scrap metal. I'm thinking of like repurposing a barrel for a gun that's not in use and just kind of have it drag in the ground behind the van a little bit to just get some earth to ground us as we're driving along.
I like this. This is
the
fun.
rubbers.
I would say this is just a quick outcome, but I'm going to want to roll for this to see if you just do it effectively or ineffectively. That's basically how it's going to be. So put together a pool, use the van, obviously use the van. But if there's anything else that you think you have in your tags, that would make sense.
I was going to say weaponsmithing, which is the reason why I have the parts, the metal for that.
Okay. I'll say the smithing part of that probably is going to come into play here, since you're doing like a little jury rig craft thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
And then my van. It's not really any other. It's not anything else I have that's like really specific enough. I don't think that would apply.
All right, well, you got 2. 2's not terrible. You'll be all right. You're going to live forever. You're great.
Yeah.
It's definitely not a giant potato guy in the sky.
Is it a quick outcome?
Yeah, it's just going to be a quick outcome.
Okay.
Oh
gosh.
No.
Okay. That's a very bad roll. That is a 5 total, 2 and 1.
Do we have any like audience rerolls or anything?
No, we don't do rerolls.
Okay.
Rerolls. You gotta live with it. What were we doing with them anyway? I can't remember.
Loadout stuff. It was loadout stuff.
Oh, okay. I had forgotten. You should have reminded me a minute ago. Okay. Consequence. So Clover, you go out and you try to ground this. You try to create this like little contraption, almost like a rudder for your van to drag behind you, right, and kind of cut through some of the earth and the concrete that's left. But as you're out here, another one of those horrific those shakes happen, and you realize that each time the thunder cascades and drums, they're like that sense, that palpable sense of like electricity seems to be in the air. It increases. And so as you're reaching down and kind of messing around with this metal, there's this like surge of this invisible force that just cascades through you. And anybody who is looking out a window or standing a few feet from Clover and watches this happen, you just see suddenly like a comical electrocution effect happens where he just goes and he lifts off the ground and almost hovers back, kind of arching. And for like a good 5 to 6 seconds, he's just like held up in the sky for a good, about 4 or 5 feet off the ground. And he's just, before he let go and he drops to the ground. Take overclocked 2, Clover, as your
goodness
negative consequence here. He falls. Okay.
Reka, if it's sentient, can't you try to talk to them? Maybe just like. Maybe somebody should just try to talk to them.
Back?
Maybe it'll stop with the things that it's doing. Maybe it'll stop getting more intense.
I'm gonna go to the cactus and put a hand on it and say, we're not trying to hurry. We're just trying to get past.
Okay. You get out of the van and you walk up to the cactus. You're basically walking up to the base of a building. It's got that kind of girth and size to it, right? And you reach out and you go to place your hand on this thing. But as you get close, you realize that there's these huge, very thick spindles coming out of it. And they're so big that you're able to navigate between it because of the gargantuan size of it. So you're able to very deftly maneuver between it. And as you place your hand against the cactus, you start to see like the exterior dermis of the cactus is kind of fleshy, like in the sense like it's got give to it. And as you put your hand against it, it starts to wrap over top of it. You see your hand kind of sink, and you see this bit of flesh start to wrap over top of you. Go ahead and put together a pool if you would like to try to communicate with this cactus, this gargantuan cactus.
Okay. Well, this is gonna go super well because I guess that's our whole life talking to plants. Does this feel daring to you?
Daring is perfectly, I'll take that for sure.
Yeah.
Can I make a similar case for tough as nails? Because
Absolutely.
Okay.
No, save tough as nails for mitigation because I think you're trying to talk to them as opposed to.
I'm actually thinking of using protective armor for mitigation.
You can use more than one tag for mitigation if it comes to it.
Oh, I see. Okay.
But
good.
tough as nails, I don't think is going to help you communicate or talk to this thing. It's only gonna. It just means it all it's gonna do is help you not take damage.
I assume this cactus is sentient, which is what I'm doing now. I'm gonna try and impress upon it that I am not trying to hurt it.
Yeah,
daring and impress.
Absolutely. Give yourself -2 on this for 2 statuses that are in play. And you can give that a roll.
And that is... So that's just going to be a straight roll.
Straight roll, yeah.
6, 7, 8, 9. 9.
Okay. So that is a success with consequence, not a big consequence. So here's what happens. You are able to communicate with it, but as you do so, you realize it's like you're tapping into something that is more grand than you thought it would be. Like it's this you hear, it's not so much like there's 1,000 voices, but it definitely feels like as you try to make contact with it, say a few words, like just reach your mind out, whatever the hell it might be, whatever your damn mythos friends do, right? You realize that like it doesn't speak the kind of like simplistic language that you speak, but it does convey an emotion to you, and it is one that very clearly is get the fuck out, is kind of what it conveys. It very much doesn't want you here. You don't get the sense that it wants to kill you. It just doesn't want you here. You do get the sense that like it has been restraining itself, and this little network has been restraining what it could do. But it's not going to have that much patience for that much longer. I would say the negative consequence will give you is just put like warned 1, like you've been warned 1. So the rest of you are watching, and you see she literally puts her hand up to this thing. She communicates with it. You hear a this like crash of thunder once more. You see the spindles of the cactus kind of start to shake and shimmer, and almost looks for a moment they were going to wrap around her, but then they straighten once more. And then there's like a moment where everything kind of seems to settle, like the eye of a storm, like kind of deal. Everything kind of seems calm. But Reika, you can pull your hand back. You see this residue left on it, but
She
you have
does
a very
with sort of a jerk and kind of wheels around like, I think I talked to it, or I heard it. Anyway, it's not just this. This is just one part of something much bigger, and it doesn't want us here. It's really not happy with us being here. So, and she's gonna drop her voice really low and say, we should go to the dryads, because maybe they have a way of moving around without pissing this stuff off.
That's a good point.
I mean, is this the only place that these are? Can we just like drive past them really fast?
I'm not going to take that chance.
I mean, I kind of agree with Clover.
I understand how like fucked up that felt.
I'm sure
this is not just one big tree thing. There's like a million big tree things up or something. It's a lot. It felt like a lot.
Dude, plants are weird.
Plants are weird. Can we go? Let's go.
Fair.
Ivan, you think we should just drive fast?
No offense.
That's okay.
I mean, I was just saying, like Clover said, can we just like go around it?
So looking around, like you've been, like you guys have been specifically like trying to follow like the infrastructure for a bit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like that's where this is taking you. Like you're seeing like this old highway that you're on, and you can see what looks like the broken down remains of settlements, a small city of some kind, and they're interspersed within this huge like cactus forest, right? But there's nothing to prevent you from going off road and off in a completely different direction. Like it does mean you're off road. It just doesn't, so that's all. You could.
Marga's very insistent that like we should go to the dryads and like find a not pissing them off way to move around, because if we keep going the way we're going, these are warning shots. We just had are warning shots.
So we should go off road then. So I think because he went to the dryads and then that didn't go so well. So if we just go off road, then we would be going.
But the
like,
dryads are the one that
them.
caused the problem. The dryads are not what caused the problem. The dryads were helping him get to wherever he was trying to get to, and something else trapped him.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, maybe we should go to the dryads and see.
Well, whatever it is, we should leave.
Yeah, we.
Okay.
Yeah.
So instead of following the road, we should try to go off road and see if we can go around this.
Well, no, we're gonna go.
Where are the dryads at? Do we even know?
Yeah.
So I would give a Garricus a roll here on this to see if you can recall.
Oh no.
Yeah, like we could do a recall stuff. This is also this is outside of like the consequence of getting hit by this thunder stuff. But yeah, just give me a quick retroactive like discover. I would say local contacts and guys would definitely work. We could do. Trying to see what else you got. You could do science experiment, I would say, because of your troubled past.
Just because that's why I was in the area.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And yeah, I'd say those are probably the two that makes the most sense. Give it a roll.
Okay.
Oh, look at that. You're going to live forever.
Of course, that's when I roll well.
Well, this is great. You want
That's good. That is good.
This is good. This is good.
Okay.
Okay. So you would know that the Dryads are a little bit further north. Like you guys are kind of cutting through the middle of the Badlands here. You're just kind of getting right to the heart of it. But you would know you would have to sort of veer north a ways. They tend to traverse, like they're very nomadic, and they tend to traverse something called the Staghorn Trail. So if you head north a ways, you know that it's not a road as it is just sort of like this like it's a ridge that people can kind of, sometimes people will come and climb, or sometimes people will come and sort of just do some sort of scouting from this upper kind of visual range. And so there's like a ridge to the north basically that you should be able to run across them at some point. Yeah.
There's a spot, the Staghorn Trail. If we stay along this road, I mean, they're always going hither and yon sort of thing, but in general, they kind of weave around that area.
All right. We can head that way.
Okay. So, Clover, you shake off your electrocution and you kind of kick it back in reverse. And then you start venturing northward. You're going off-road either way. You're really just kind of like at this point, but the ground itself is mostly like this scorched desert. It's a very bumpy ride for you all. Not the most comfortable thing in the world. When you are, I would say maybe 20 minutes or so north of this that stretch of the saguaro, you notice like in the distance, Clover, there is as I'm assuming you're driving, you can see there is this kind of funnel of black smoke coming from what looks like this confluence of a series of buildings. You would guess this was probably an old intersection at some point. And you can see that there's a couple buildings. The highest one is probably maybe 2.5 stories or so. There's no more roof anymore. You can just really see the skeleton of it. And then there's a handful of other skeletons of buildings left and right. Some of them have overgrowth of this kind of dusty looking dry, similar to the coverage of the cacti, like just dry fungal stuff. And you can see that, like, coming from in that little grouping, there is this bit of smoke that seems to be wafting up from them. What do you do with that, Clover?
Probably head that way and double check with like what Garrick has heard and say, like, does this sound familiar to your information on where you think these guys are?
No, not really, because like what you're thinking of Agaricus is that they were basically on a ridge, as opposed to like this is like an old rundown sort of decayed intersection. Probably was like commercial at some point in the past. So this isn't it.
Okay.
You do see the signs of like smoke. Like you definitely see that.
Do I get, it's like is it like a single stream of smoke? Like I get the sense of like maybe someone's campfire or something like that, or is it like a lot more than that?
It's definitely a steady, thick black stream, like single one. It's thick and it doesn't look like it's like a small little wispy campfire. It looks a little bigger than that.
Okay.
Crawford did tell me there were both Dryad hunting parties and marauders. Do you think?
Yeah. Are those
what?
Marauders don't sound friendly.
No.
So probably avoid that then. I guess we'll take a wide berth.
Maybe we go and we can kind of see what it is, but not just drive right up to it. But if it's a group that could be helpful, maybe we want to get a little bit close and maybe do a little recon, see who they seem to be.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. How far away is your sense life thing work?
Not this far. Like I assume we're like a couple miles away that we're seeing this.
Yeah.
Half a mile to a mile, we'll say. That's probably close enough. Go ahead, Mallory.
Agaricus. You think the Dryads have blood in them?
I mean, yes, they're trying to be respectful of the surroundings, but at least I assume most of them are still people.
Because I could help. As I look at Verona.
When we get closer, we could try to sense life force, and you can try to sense blood.
Blood, yeah. But if
Yeah.
it was like chlorophyll, nah.
Plant blood doesn't count.
Nope.
Well, then, so between us, then we could see, like, if it's life force but no blood, then that might give us some more information. Yeah.
Ivan, how good are you at detecting what's being burned? Because, marauders wouldn't really care. They might even use, like, gasoline or some sort of accelerant to start a fire. But the nomads wouldn't do that because they respect their surroundings.
Ooh.
I mean, I've never tried to sense other people's fire before, but sure, why not? I'll give it a try.
Okay, let's do it. So who wants to go first? There's a lot of different stuff that's being thrown out. So Ivan, do you want to try to sniff and see if you can
type of fire? Nice.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and figure out fire.
Fire Marshal Ivan.
Totally would apply.
I'm gonna say the distance that you're at will probably give you a -2. We'll say, as it's still a mile away. We'll call it that. But
should we move? Should we
I
get
can move
like
up
a half a
first.
mile away? Maybe.
Can you
Yeah.
move closer.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay.
He said ominously.
Classic.
Oh my gosh.
Do you touch
Potato
it?
steps into the middle of the road.
Are you sure? The most ominous question.
I already touched it. I feel
So you're
like
opening the
they're
door.
good.
Okay.
Yeah. With your hands? You're not wearing gloves, are you?
Okay.
So we get like a half mile out, maybe.
Sure. Okay. So Ivan, take a -1 then. We'll say from distance.
Okay.
I think is fair. What's your pool? You're just doing all your pyromancer stuff.
Not all, because it doesn't all make sense. So I'm just going to do pyromancer for the primary. And for my loadout, I brought my backpack of iron filings, which I use to kind of enhance my fire.
Okay.
So I'm just going to leverage pyromancer and iron filings kind of as a focus.
I thought it was going to be like a golfer pulling grass up to test the wind.
Oh,
You just
check the wind. Yeah.
Iron filings. Okay.
All
right. Give it a roll.
This one.
Wait. Before you roll, nope, never mind. You're gonna have probably a +1. When you add your tags, make sure the loadout tag goes blue. As I think it would.
They're both blue.
On you.
They're both blue. Oh no, wait, that was Jeremy's. Never mind.
That was Jeremy's.
Mine hasn't rolled.
Yeah, his doesn't come through yet. What happened?
Oh, weird.
What happened? I'm refreshing.
Where'd it go?
Okay, me too.
It broke.
That means the sound's gonna get all messed up, but whatever.
All right, taking a -1.
Okay.
And iron filings. It just lets me click. It's fine. We'll figure it out. We'll do it live.
There you go.
Right. Yeah,
9.
it worked, right? It's a 9.
Okay. There's certainly a scent on the wind of like plasteel metal. Like it's definitely like something mechanical. You don't know exactly what, but you would guess that something crashed or something has been set on fire, something exploded. But something mechanical, something tech based. It doesn't sound like this. Like this is like something naturally being burnt. Certainly doesn't sound like a bonfire or anything like that. But you definitely get the sense that it's that.
I'll relay that information. This is what my special fire senses are telling me.
Maybe something for us to scavenge.
Verona looks to Mallory. Is it our turn?
Yeah.
So Verona wants to sense life force while Mel senses blood. We're doing like
am I
uniting our powers.
Am I helping you? You help. I'm gonna help you. How about that?
Okay.
Like because I need to roll to assist, right?
I mean, we could just do it the quick way, which is you just activate a power and get rid of the one power you have. So like the power of like the blood force, whatever. What was the one where you can sense blood?
Detect blood.
Yeah, you can just give her detect blood. Like there's other ways to do it, but like let's just do this to keep it moving.
Yeah. Right. So add 1 for me.
Okay. Oh
Okay.
dear. 6. Okay. It at least got no. It's a 6.
Okay, so that's a 6 total. Six total would be a
Yeah,
fail.
I rolled 2 2s and then we had 2 on top of that, so it's a 6.
Okay, you only sense in terms of life force. You definitely sense life force all around you. Like it's everywhere, really. Like anywhere you look, where there's patches of this this kind of like hardened looking fungus that's overgrown on many things. Like definitely, that's life force, and you definitely sense that your compatriots, Mallory next to you, a few others, etc. But you don't sense anything else. However, as you turn around and as you say this to everybody, because I'm going to say like you and Ivan and Mallory had to like kind of get out from the noise of the van to kind of use your to use your powers uninhibited. As you turn around and you call out to like Garricus and Rika and Clover and everyone else, like I don't think there's anything in there. There is suddenly like the sound of like, and then you hear, and you see an explosion in the ground right next to the van. The van just goes, kind of shakes around. I'm going to say everybody who is outside, Verana, Mallory, and Ivan, you all can make a mitigation roll right now as there is an explosion that just came right in front of you. So go ahead, whatever it was that would protect you against, shrapnel of the concussive force, anything like that.
Can we tell which direction it came from?
Came most certainly from that little collection of rundown buildings and things like that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to argue that ancient fighting techniques helps me know how to take a fall.
Okay. Oh, geez. That was wrong. Whatever, that'll work. Yeah, that'll work.
I'm going to use my elemental body, transform specific body parts to do my whole like splat to the ground thing. And I think disaster alertness would also apply here.
I think it's fair. Yeah, for sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, and I would say, Mallory, don't forget, you have fresh blood. So you have a status that you can use for once or twice, probably. So if you wanted to use that here, you certainly could.
Yeah, I should. And you make sure it's blue, right?
Yeah. You want it to be blue. That'll be the positive.
I thought you meant the blood for a second. I was trying to figure out what that meant.
They're all Vulcans.
It's not water-based, right?
Is it blue or is it green? No, color.
They were green.
They're green.
Yeah.
I think so.
Green. Oh, no, the Romulans were green.
I got 14.
Right?
Holy crap, that's a great roll. Okay. So I'm taking a look at this. Looks like Verana, you were able to succeed once. Okay. So you got...
And Vulcan blood is green.
Okay. Thank you. All right. So Mallory, you're able to dodge out of the way of this. Like maybe like you can describe how you do it, but if you're like, kind of go gadget arming yourself with your stomach shreds or whatever it might be, you manage to kind of throw yourself out of the concussive blast of whatever this is.
Did you say Agaricus was out here too?
I was going to say anybody who wasn't immediately using a power is still in the van. So Agaricus, Rika, and Clover.
So Ivan was out here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. So I would probably on my way down those, I almost just disintegrate at once. And you see my skeleton for just a moment. It's almost as if there was a meat suit around me, shedding. Mm-hmm. And the skeleton collapses and then wraps around Ivan's leg and pulls him away a little bit. Because it says he says intended or better. So as I'm trying to get him out of the way too.
That's only if you take there are no consequences. The player can choose to take consequences for a greater degree of success. You don't just get to do that. He has to mitigate himself.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
So,
all right, then.
So Ivan, how did you do on your roll? I don't see yours.
I haven't rolled mine yet.
Okay. Oh, that's a good roll.
Oh, good.
Okay.
12.
So between Mallory and Ivan, the two of you are able to throw yourselves. So Mallory, how you described it, we can just sort of play it that way. Like you throw down you and you drag Ivan away, and the two of you manage to tuck and sort of tumble out of the concussive force here. Verana, you managed to shield yourself somewhat behind the van, probably, but you rolled an 8, which means you have 1 power that you were able to kind of downgrade this. So this was going to be a 2 status hit, but in case you can downgrade it to a 1, and just give yourself something like concussed 1 or something like that, as you just sort of hide behind the van, but the van gets just struck and shaked, and like your head smashes against the wall of the van. So there's that. It's at that point, as like this moment begins to settle, and like those of you in the van, like you get thrown about, but you don't get the worst of it, and the van itself probably has like some protective measures for you. Mm-hmm. You see racing out of this this little collection of buildings. There looks like, it basically just looks like a dune buggy, and you see like this small grouping. It's got these big giant wheels. They seem mismatched. You can see there's one person down in the front that's driving, and you can see that there's a second person like sitting on the back, like a little bit perched up, and they have on their shoulder what looks to be some kind of like rocket propelled launcher kind of deal, and they're loading it again. You also like see that as they're kind of closing in, there is some sort of disturbance in the sides. Like when you look off to the left, you look off to the right, you can see like in the sun-scorched earth to either side, you can start to see like there's some kind of upturned earth. Like it's like almost like it's shaking and starting to eat up, and something's happening over there, and you can't quite suss out what it is. So that's what you guys are facing right now. Who would like to take the spotlight to deal with the problems at hand?
So we see, like, all of us see this, or just the people in the car?
Everybody sees this, yeah. But I would say that the three of you just fell to the ground. So I would probably say let's let the people in the van maybe take a head start in this.
Sure.
So Garricus, Rika, Clover, the three of you have an idea of how you might want to handle this as you see your friends get thrown off to the side, left and right, just explosion on the outside.
I'd yell, everyone get in the van. I don't want to be a sitting target. Wait for everyone to do that before maybe doing like a maneuver sort of test to try and like defensively drive while other people do stuff.
Okay. Is that what you want to do? You want to wait for everyone to get in?
Yep.
Okay. All right. And if that's the case, then second rocket starts firing out. And this is going to explode like right square in the middle of the windshield. And you can see the van, everybody around it. Everyone go ahead and make a mitigation test as the second rocket now explodes. This one's more on target as you were just sitting there. Those of you that are inside, I would say that like you should make a mitigation, but I would say give yourselves, you can use the van as a tag towards like a mitigation roll here.
Eep.
My van.
I use protective armor and exoskeleton suit as like physical armor, and the third dive in the van, which netted me at a 10.
Okay, so that will be enough for you to kind of buy back. Like you're able to, even though like the van's going to suffer some damage, the windshield's going to explode, there's going to be some structural damage. You're able to withstand anything that would have happened. You have enough to buy down. Let's just go around. Edgar, I guess, how'd you do?
I got a 9 with 3 in the pool.
Okay. So yeah, with a 9, you'll be able to buy down one status of this. So like you'll be able to one status level of this. So give yourself, like shrapnel 1 as like. You get your various vines and protective bark skin and stuff kind of gets up, but maybe a few pieces kind of get wedged in here and there. Verana, how did you do?
I did horribly. I rolled a 5. So I am very, very much hurting.
Okay. So give yourself shell shocked 2, we'll say.
Okay.
As this explosion happens, is right as you were kind of getting your wits about you, door was opening up for you to go inside. Another explosion happens. It sends like the van rattling. How did Mallory do?
I didn't roll just yet, but I'm going to go ahead and roll
Okay.
now.
Okay.
I got an 8.
Okay. You'll be able to buy down 1, so you can just give yourself concussed 1.
Okay.
Rika, we already did. Ivan, how did you do?
I got a 6. I get the full.
Okay. You get the shell shock just like Rana. Because you're not inside, I'm saying you're not getting the shrapnel stuff. You're just like getting the reverberations of the explosion. And you're like bouncing into the van, and the van just sort of throws you off to the side. So give yourself shell shock 2. And then Clover, how did you do?
I got a 5.
Oh, buddy. Okay, so you're gonna take all of this explosion. So you were driving, so it probably makes sense. It's hardest for you. So we'll just give yourself what we're gonna call it, shredded 2, as like all of the explosion, that inward force of the windshield coming at you from where this rocket propelled grenade exploded, just kind of rains down on you and starts to rip at your face here and there. You can see as all of you are kind of getting yourselves together, like there's smoke everywhere. You can see that there's those things to the right and to the left. Those of you who are outside of the van probably see this even better. You definitely see like the earth again. It's like kind of crumbling from below, and it's getting closer to you. And this is coming from either side. The people in the dune buggy are getting closer now. They're probably within like a quarter mile of you at this point, or actually less than that. They're probably just a couple hundred feet from you. And you can see that they're loading. He's like loading up again, and he's kind of getting ready to go once more. Who would like to take a spotlight action here?
Yeah.
Ivan, you're getting up. You're little woozy, little concussed from the blast, but you can see a very like they're freaking loading this thing up again.
I'm gonna yell for everyone to run, and then I'm gonna do like we did on when we were escaping the office building last time. I'm just gonna try and put out a shitload of smoke to kind of give us some cover so we can take a moment to skedaddle safely.
I like it. Okay, and you're gonna put that like around your whole get up here, like you're just gonna like just make a ring of smoke around you all.
No, maybe like just a giant, because I don't need to waste all that around us. I just need to put it between us and them, just like a big giant cloud of smoke between us and them.
Okay, so you just make this like wall of smoke out in front. You stand up, your head's woozing. There's already smoke swirling around you, and so maybe you start pulling that in to send that out. Give me a roll.
Okay.
Make this a tracked outcome this time.
Okay. Does my shell shock come in on this?
I think it will. Yeah,
That's
because it's a brain thing. You're doing your math.
Yeah.
I think you're doing your,
Yeah. I am down with that.
It's gonna be a.
Okay. Let's attract. Okay, that one. I did great.
Okay.
With the 5.
Gosh. So many 5s
smoke
tonight.
comes up. The wall comes up.
Kind.
But like it's just not like there's definitely smoke in the air, but it's not enough to really prevent visuals. Like they can see you can see them still. It's more sort of like kind of got a translucent, thin quality to it. You just weren't able to get the volume of it up at all. Here's the consequence, though. As you're standing there and you're reaching out and you're trying to control the smoke, one of these like earth crumble things begins to transpire, like and you realize as it's coming, it's just like just the earth is just falling and caving in. It's like tremors. It's just falling and falling and falling. And then you don't realize the earth becomes basically loose underneath you, and you fall into it. Give yourself buried 2 as you fall down into what is now this trench of earth that is just starting to bury you underneath it, as you are buried 2. Okay.
Oh my word.
All right. It does look like the people on the buggy have manage to sort of load up another bit of ammo. There's definitely that other trench that's kind of closing in on you from the other side as well, that falling earth. Who wants to go next?
I
Sorry, go ahead, Mal.
I desperately do want to here.
Okay, man. Let's do it.
All right, so he's about ready to start aiming, and I'm gonna look at him, and I'm gonna point at him, and I'm gonna point down, as I'm gonna give him the evil eye, and curse of clumsiness, and I've got a need for vengeance,
Okay.
and I'm also
Very
gonna
nice,
tap
very
into my unlucky tortoise foot.
Okay. Okay. So let me double check theirs to see if they have anything.
I like this. I like this.
They have some things, but I don't think anything would really protect them from what you're doing. So nothing from them. Okay.
All right, so would concussed come into play here?
Yes.
Okay.
I think my general way of playing this is I think anytime you try to do anything that requires concentration, and that's like casting spells, hacking, all that kind of stuff, that's concentration. A concussion is going to come into play.
All right. So here we go.
All right.
Got an 11. It's one louder.
Fan
Nice.
freaking tastic. Okay. So that means you're going to have, it looks like you've got, oh, you did a quick outcome. All right.
Whoops.
That's fine. No, it's all good. 3 power. Yeah. It looks like you're going to have 3 power
3.
to play here.
I
What would
really
you like
want
to do with that power?
I really want the front end of that rocket launcher to get really heavy real quick.
Okay. All right. So just the way
almost like
so
they
the way
drop it as they're firing it, that sort of thing.
Okay. So what I'll say is, if that's what you're looking, you want them to drop it, or you just want them to point down and shoot the driver?
Second one, sure.
Okay. And you're going to put all the power into this, right?
all of it.
power,
Yeah.
Okay. So they get it up and they look right like they're about to blow the van up. And right as they go to hit it, it droops down. They hit the fire, and you just see this massive explosion. This just you see the buggy just fly up into the air. You hear, and you see like one guy just hurtles through the sky and kind of lands off to the side and just splats down. The driver, I mean, you don't even know what the hell happened to him, but you see skidding up close to like the trench that just like dragged Ivan down. You can see the fiery remains of this dune buggy. You're pretty sure you just killed both of those guys, Mallory. We'll just say that your sense life force, Vrana, it's not sensing those two anymore.
Nice job, Mallory.
There are other issues still, as you do hear the sounds of like calls, like people shouting, like howls, like coming from down by where the initial like pillar of black smoke was. And you can see coming out now, running, not on dune buggies at least, but you can see some are running and they're like carrying guns. A couple of them are carrying hatchets, and you see like one dirt bike start to wheel out as you see that there's more that are coming. They're a ways away. They're not the most imminent danger, but it definitely seems like you destroying this dune buggy has alerted more that we're in that small little intersection. They're not immediately on you. They're not the most immediate threat, but they are on their way. Ivan is buried too underneath one of these trenches. You can see the earth is getting perilously close now. That's it's kind of starting to almost go underneath the van itself. Who has an interest in going next?
I would like to go grab Ivan.
Okay, absolutely. You race out and you realize the ground is very unsteady. Everything's kind of shaking. Everything's crumbling. When you get kind of close to him, you can see that he is just sort of in this tumble. He's like almost like in a dryer. He's just like tumbling around within rocks and sand and kind of getting torn up. Keeps reaching up. Give me a roll to see if you can pull him out.
I would like to. Does this feel daring?
Feel daring? I don't know. You're just pulling a guy out of some sand. I don't know.
There's no
tough as
danger
nails,
around.
then?
Tough as nails, sure. Yeah, you take tough as nails.
Okay.
This feels like a default action, going and helping your friend up, right? It doesn't feel like
it does, and that's why
Sure.
I'm trying to see if there's.
Doesn't feel like Keanu Reeves jumping out of the plane without a parachute, tackling a guy midair to get the parachute. That's fucking daring because he's Johnny Utah. That's the threshold for daring from now on.
Fair enough. That's an 8 for me.
An 8. Okay. So that's a success, but there is going to be consequence. So what I'm going to say is like you reach down, you're able to pull them, but you realize like the earth just continues to sort of pull down. You manage to keep your footing, but as you kind of try to lurch him out, you realize like something has him. Like there is something that's pulling the opposite direction. Ivan, you realize this too, obviously.
Oh no.
Like you're able to wrench him free. But what I'll say is, so Ivan, you can go ahead and remove Barry 2 as you're pulled out. You're still prone, but I'm not going to say that's like it's fine. She can pull you up, but I'm going to say Rika, in the process of doing so, like whatever that other force was pulling against you kind of pulls on your arm a bit. So she put like pulled muscle 1, just some small little thing where you just feel your arm just kind of get jerked one way. But you're able to get Ivan out of there. So whatever the hell was pulling Ivan down is no longer pulling him down. But the earth continues to move. And at this point, it's underneath the van. And so those of you that are remaining in the van, you feel the earth rumble. And all of a sudden, the van, the back end of it falls. And you just feel as it wings back and the back wheels of the van have fallen down into this little trench. And there's dirt that's being kind of tossed up around them. Mm-hmm. Who's next?
Well, clearly, we have to have failed earlier to now be forced to reattempt to pull up the van.
Okay.
Except now with the hurt back.
Yeah. But now it's fucking heroic, man. Okay. So are you trying to like pull it out? Like describe like
basically
your optimal like
combination of just his mass, his impressive physique, his strength, as well as wrapping the vines around, trying to pull it back. Mm-hmm. I for a second was just going to try and argue daring, but I don't know that quite fits. Is anybody in the van? No.
Clover is.
I'm in the van. I'll gas it and try and help.
Yes.
Driving
Hit the gas.
Brecca got out, so I think it's just Clover now. Once you jump out, Eric is.
I mean, you've got like 3 different physical tags, right? Like impressive physique and brute strength and avoid an injury.
Well, but avoid an injury.
That would be mitigation. Yeah, no, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right. But brute strength and impressive physique.
Yeah, and then wrap the vines around to kind of help.
Yeah.
Good to go.
I will say there's going to be a -1 on this one because the last time around there wasn't a force working against you. There is a force working against you now.
Fair enough. Okay, so tracked extra.
And then, is there anything for me?
Yeah, that's fine.
Helping with driving.
So you're going to try to like drive. I'll tell you what. If you want to do a setup, I think let's just make it a separate roll. I think we should make it a separate roll, Clover.
Fair enough. I will roll it. That -1.
You got a 9.
That's great. It's a 9. Success with a small consequence. No big deal. Okay.
You're good.
that back. It just gets worse.
I feel so bad because I should have like worked on the back while we were driving and I didn't.
And it was my meat. I did something stupid early in the session and I got a penalty for it.
It's great. Okay, so you so with that success, you've got, what do you got? 2 power to work with. I would say that you can remove any negative status that I was giving the van with that power if you want. So that's not a problem. And so we'll say, just narratively speaking, you managed to lift the van up out of the trench. You see, like, as you do so, I'll say, Agaricus, like, you see something kind of reaching up and wrapping, like this dry, kind of almost like a root that's coming up and trying to wrap around like the rear axle. But you're able to pull it up and then you see it slither back inside. Okay. Clover, you want to try to drive the van off now, kind of get it away from this like this torn up terrain and everything, so that it doesn't fall back in. Let's make that your role now. Yeah,
my goal is to drive it in a way that I'm avoiding the terrain, and can kind of circle around where the ground is steady enough to pick people up that are still outside.
Okay, I think that makes perfect sense. Give me a roll.
Okay.
How, like, what you would want to put together for this sort of like crazy driving?
Yeah, we'll say I'm trying to pay attention to like how the ground's crumbling and stuff. So maybe analytical brain augment.
Okay,
like
I'll take it.
Paying attention to the terrain.
The best route out of this, sure.
Yeah. I'll do armored utility van as my loadout tag because I'm driving it.
I think that makes sense.
Risk taker's look charm because I'm driving not in a way that's just trying to get out. Like it is more risky to come back around and.
Or maybe you see like the Earth has like an incline at one point that you're gonna try to jump over top of.
Oh heck yeah!
And now we're taking risks.
Absolutely. We'll do that, right. And then
sounds kind of daring.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah.
It sounds kind of daring, but is it Johnny Utah jumping out of a plane without a parachute to steal a parachute from another man on his way down? Does it hit that bar?
That's the bar.
That's the bar.
What if I do it in a way where I'm trying to land on the motorcycle? Is that daring?
That is daring, but it's also much more difficult. So I feel like you're probably in the net, not gonna.
Yeah. It's one of those like cold shot kind of things.
Yeah. I love it. Okay, so you can roll that, but -2.
Okay.
-2 because it's a small target, I'll say, smaller than the van. And this person is actually very good at driving.
Because it's a small target, can I take lucky shot?
Yes, I think so. All yes. Right. I think so. I like it.
God, this is gonna make my
son of a bitch. Can I use another Benny? Oh goodness.
Was this tracked attack now?
Yes, this is gonna be a tracked attack. Yeah, this is a tracked attack for sure. You rolled really well too, I think.
12.
You rolled 12. Phenomenal.
Yes.
Okay, so you've got. It looks like you have a total of 3 power that you can spend on effects. Okay. One of those is going to have, if you want to be free of the area, one of those I'm going to say is going to have to be spent on getting the van eventually away from it. But the other 2, what do you want to use them on? What do you want to do?
I want to use, one is for freeing up the van. Another is lending towards trying to pick other people back, like aiding people to regrouping. So if anyone's trying to do any sort of like, getting back together type of test, I want to lend power to that. And then the last tag is an attack on the bike. Okay.
So we'll say like the 2 power you're doing for the positive. We'll say like it gives you like a scene tag, a story tag, like strategically positioned, something like that. Yeah. So like the van is in a strategic position that's easy for everybody to get into. And then we'll say the 1 status will be that you clip the motorcycle. So if you're just going to do the 1 status point, it's not unfortunately going to obliterate, but you are going to like clip the back wheel as this one like leaps over its own rock, and then it sees what you're trying to do and tries to dodge. And so like the motorcycle itself like gets a little bit damaged, and then you can see the driver is like trying as best they can to like kind of get control of it. And so you see them weave off into the sides of this area a bit. They're not out of the fight, but we'll say like they're not immediately on. You guys are gonna have to do like a wheel around now to get to you.
Sure.
But it definitely works to them. The ones on the ground at this point that were running and racing, they've got guns out and they're starting to fire, and you can hear the sounds of gunshots. You're not sure if they're close enough or if they're really they're just firing like crazy. You just hear like the sounds of like rapid firing, like automatic weapon fire, and like the earth is starting to like, you can see little spots where bullets hit, and maybe once or twice you hear ting, and you see like a bullet show up on like a bullet hole show up in the side of the van. You could tell they're closing in. You see on foot, there's probably about 4 of them racing after you, and then there was the one on the motorcycle that rolled off to the side. The van now is in a strategically placed position for everyone to get on it if they want to, but there are still some dangers here, some threats. One of them being on a motorcycle, which could probably, at this point, considering the damage the van has probably suffered, could be able to catch up with that van. Who would like to go next? Who hasn't had the spotlight in a while?
So, Jeff, I have a question.
Yeah.
So that little rocket launcher thing, is it still intact, and was there anything else left?
So I would say that it got particularly obliterated. But I'll tell you, I don't think the rocket. But I'll say this: give me a heads or tails.
Tails.
You want to go tails? Okay. All right, it's tails. I'm gonna say the the actual rocket propelled chute. Like you don't see that there, but maybe you see because remember the dune buggy actually like slid towards you. You just see that maybe an unexploded piece of ordnance rolls out. And so there is like this one kind of, grenade that you can see rolling out from the front of the dune buggy itself. Not the full thing, but you'd have to pick it up and chuck it. But you could potentially do that if you want.
I have slightly different ideas for that.
Oh, well, excuse me.
But along that same vein, so I have corpse animation and we have multiple corpses.
Hell yeah. It's about time.
So I would like one of them to grab that and go running towards the group of people that are running towards us shooting and pull the pin.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yes. Freaking yeah. So we'll say like whatever, like remember I said the body of like the rocket launcher guy, I kind of flew up into the sky and landed and splattered, and then the driver was just kind of lost in the tangle. You can see the mangled, tangled remains of the driver now as like the dune buggy has slid very close. You can do whichever one you want, doesn't matter, but put a pool together and we'll see how this goes.
Okay. So my pool is corpse animation, forbidden cult, access to occult tome. So it's all of those things that give me the knowledge to do this corpse animation that I'm doing.
Okay. This is a dead body. Has nothing, I'm going to say, that's going to work against you. You are shell-shocked, however. So I do think that's going to affect you. So you're going to have to use that status.
I am shell-shocked and concussed. So
you only take the worst. You only take the, because they're basically on the same track. And so you'd only take the worst of them. Yeah.
Okay,
you can also do something like, don't forget you have things like somber markings that you could potentially tap into now. Remember, if you brought
somber
those
markings has to do with ghosts, so it's I was looking at that and that wouldn't quite, and spread the chill of the grave would again be a different thing.
Bring a retribution. Talk about right there. Bring a retribution.
That's right. Yes. Yeah. Yes, that's right. Okay. So I've got a +4 and a -2.
Okay, so a net of +2. All right, give it a roll. Oh no! Oh no!
Oh my gosh!
Oh, no.
Oh, this is the worst. Snake eyes.
Snake eyes
for everyone. Snake eyes
Okay.
is what I rolled. So it sounded really cool, but when we play ttrpgs, the dice decide what actually happens.
Yes. And it's still like fails fun. Like I love critical fails. Critical fails are super fun. So I want to make this one super fun. You see the body of the driver, this mangled body, suddenly like jerk up and like looks in your direction. Its face peeling off in one way. You can definitely tell it's human, but they've certainly changed themselves through a variety of like tech and sort of ritual scarring and stuff like that. And also, they got shot by a rocket. So then they're going to come like lumbering forward and they're going to pick up the grenade and they're going to look at you. And then they're going to charge at you as opposed to turning around. And so there's going to and it gets right on top of you and it's going to explode. So you try to direct it. It's going to instead do the thing that you wanted it to do to them, to you and your allies.
Yep.
Who would we say is probably near Vrana? Is anyone here near Vrana?
I don't think so, because Riker went to get Ivan.
Like to be, but I don't know if I have.
No, I don't think so. I don't think anybody's near me.
Clover, you're good.
Mal,
you're in the van.
Are you still near me?
Yeah, I probably am.
Mal is? Okay. I'm going to need both Mal and Vrana. I'm going to give you both mitigation rolls here to take this damage, as otherwise you're going to be exploded on by a dead animated corpse with a grenade. Yeah.
So, dear,
Because Rika
Like-
is helping Ivan up, and then Clover was in the van, and Garricus was lifting the van out. So I don't think the four of them are there.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Yeah, Mallory's probably the only one.
So, ancient fighting techniques, again, to try to be deft and quickly moving. I don't think I have anything else that is really going to...
Well,
I think it's just the one.
Yeah, I'm going to do my normal disaster alertness, elemental body, transform specific body parts to try and piece out.
I think I was doing a mitigation run before. We'll do it right this time. Okay.
Do what now?
Note to myself, I did something wrong before. I'll fix it this time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and
let's
I
do
don't
this.
think self-healing applies yet because I don't have the damage yet. So,
No, I don't think so.
oh man. Oh man.
Okay, both of you suffer the. Wait, I'm sorry. Okay, so Vrana suffers. Vrana suffers the full consequence. Mallory, however, you can spend 3 power to mitigate the consequences, so you can spend the power, and you're going to be able to get out of the way of this. So as you see, maybe you're not quite close enough to help Vrana, but you're at least close enough to help yourself, Mallory. So what do you think you do? Do you contort your body? Do you dive for cover? What is it you think you do that gets you out of the blast of this grenade wielding corpse?
Yeah, so I probably grow my one leg I'm standing on, my dominant leg really long away, and then just drop down.
So gross. And
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Verona, your reaction speed may be a little bit slower because of the shell shocked. It gets right on top of you. So you rolled a critical fail. So I'm going to say you're going to take I don't know, shredded 3. I think this is probably a 3 consequences.
Yeah.
There's a
I feel like
grenade
she
right on top
was
of you.
focusing so much on the power in this and trying to get him turn around, instead of spending the physical power to get out of the way. She was still just trying to do it with kind of the mystical part
and
of
so anyone who can see it, you see Verona just get literally exploded. You see her body just get launched out of this cloud of smoke and dust and flesh as the driver literally rips into tons of different pieces. Okay. The sounds of the motorcycle are as it looks like they have righted themselves and are getting ready to come back into the fight. The ones that Verona was trying to take care of in the distance have now closed the distance. The gunfire is even closer now and starting to get more accurate. So I would say these are now a real threat to you. The van is in a strategically placed position for ease of access. It has definitely suffered some damage. The windshield's been shattered, tons of bullet wounds. You can see the axle's a little structured. What are you all planning to do here?
bleed a lot of my own blood.
Yeah.
I'd like to use because Clover's on the back of the bike, so I'm going to assume he has the bike person handled, and I'm gonna.
He dinged the motorcycle. The motorcycle guy's literally turning back around and is getting ready to turn.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I'm in the
Then
van. I'm still driving the van.
I'm gonna try and take a shot at his wheel, at his front wheel.
All right. Let's see.
And
this is
that's
going to
2
be...
guns at once, and got some more guns, and
-1 on from him, and what he has.
Yep.
Is
4 guns, 2 guns at once.
he is a capable wheelman. Is the tag I gave.
Nice.
I am also going to ask if I might use my underestimate threats weakness.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. So that's a +2 -2 net. So it's a straight roll.
Why are you getting -2?
Oh no!
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Is
You're doing the
more
weakness.
guns and his
I'm
tag
stupid.
and
Weakness.
underestimate that.
Okay,
You're
so
good.
yeah, it's a flat roll then.
Yeah. 6. You're not gonna believe me.
I don't. I never believe you because you never fail rolls. You have to fail them sometimes if you want me to believe that you're not just completely lying about your rolls. Or you have to do them in the system like everybody else does. I don't call anybody else a liar.
I got 2 6s.
Okay. All right.
Cars.
So that is a success. That's going to. So you had a total of. It was a flat roll. So you're still gonna have 1 power to play with. You can also optionally take a consequence to get 2 power to play with.
Yeah, sure. Why the hell not?
Okay. So I'm gonna say the consequence is you get clipped by one of the other ones that are coming up, and so you just get like give yourself clipped 1 as you feel like as you turn to fire at the one that has the motorcycle guy. You feel the fire of the ones on the ground that are charging out from that small little groupings of buildings, and so you just take clip 1. Okay. You have 2 power to play with. How do you want to do this? You could theoretically you could use you can create a story tag to destroy the motorcycle, which is just going to destroy the motorcycle, or you could use 2 points. You're going to give it a status and give it 2 tiers of a status. It's up to you.
I was kind of wanting to take it out of the fight entirely.
Okay.
So the first one you mentioned.
Okay, so you shoot down. The back wheel got kind of dinged up a bit. The front wheel now is getting shot, and then you see eventually like the wheel as you just start loading into it. 2 guns firing. The wheel just collapses, and you see the motorcycle wing down. He kind of slides a bit, and then disappears over the ridge of one of those churned up kind of funnels of earth. And you no longer see the bike. You no longer see the driver as they fall down the other side.
Nice.
Now, there's still 4 of them coming. You can still see that whatever the hell's underneath the earth here is still active, but you can tell it's had some things that it's messed with. It's starting to funnel now again in the direction of the van, and you can see near you, Ivan, like there's some kind of like almost looks like a root that comes up for a second and like looks like a periscope almost for a minute before sipping back inside.
That's unpleasant.
What do you guys want to do? What do you guys want to do? There are more of them closing in on you. Earth's grind, like your van is busted up. Some of you have gotten exploded on by corpses you've animated and all that kind of stuff. So what do you guys want to do?
I can't fight the dirt, but I can throw a fireball at the dudes following us.
Okay, you want to throw a fireball at that group of 4 that's coming up?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Okay.
You got this.
Let's see. They are not on a bike, so they're not going to get that wheelman stuff. Yeah, none of what they have is going to limit this. So you're good for me.
Cool. There we go.
Okay.
An 8.
All right, so that's looks like you've got 8 total. So you're going to have 1 power to spend. To kind of fire at them. So you could you can get, they're all kind of close together. So you can basically just give them scorched or something like that with a status.
Yeah. They're individually moving towards us. They're not like pack.
They're all coming at you. Like mechanically, I'm treating them as a group. If that, they're
Okay.
one thing.
All right, we'll just go with scorch then. Just put a little hurt on them.
Okay. So you see the small stream of fire comes through that thin veneer of smoke that you had tried earlier, and it just kind of sort of explodes right on them and cascades between them. You hear some screams, but then you're not sure if those screams suddenly turn to like howls of joy. You're not. They're freaking crazy.
Yeah.
And you look up, and some of them are caught on fire, and they're still running at you guys. The van has been placed. Yeah. They're crazy. The van has been placed in a strategic position. However, the Earth has started to move in direction again. This will not be placed in a strategic position for much longer. So you all tell me, do you continue to stay here and fight?
Bleeding behind into that van.
Okay. So we see Brianna climbing up.
Get it.
Ow.
Just book it.
Ow.
Yeah,
Okay.
Ow.
Okay. Jeremy had to step away, so we'll just say Agaricus will follow the lead of the majority of the group. If everyone's climbing in, he'll climb in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Rika, So you fire the motorcycle guy. You can see he's gone over into that sort of churned up earth. You can see Ivan shooting at the ones in the distance, but then turns back, follows Verana, follows Agaricus, follows Mallory inside. What do you do, Rika?
She looks slightly longingly at her guns and the bad guys, and then like sighs heavily and follows into the car.
Okay.
And I'm trying to have the decay of the tag fight big enemies do big things itch scratch.
I
don't know
this
if
isn't
that
really a big
plays
enemy. These are just 4 lunatic marauder things, I would say.
Then no, never mind. Well, I'm still gonna go.
I'm not
to
going
the
to
cab.
stop you from
Little
shooting
guys.
them as we drive away.
Yeah, maybe I'll lay
Ivan.
down some covering fire, but I'm getting the man physically.
Like if you want to stay and fight while the rest of them drive
No.
away,
No.
we can do that.
No.
I might.
No.
I mean, no, I'll get
Ivan.
Okay.
Ivan.
Okay. All right. And Ivan's getting in the van, I thought he said.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you all turn to get in the van, Rika laying covering fire, Ivan laying literal covering fire as the two of you climb in. The van has suffered. You can see that the windshield's down. The windows are basically all shot up. There's some holes where like bullets have passed through. You can even hear that tink, tink, tink of like it getting hit some more. And then Clover, do you just go back the way you came? Do you just kind of put it in reverse and start driving back the way you came? Or?
Not exactly the way that we came, but just kind of maybe for a bit. I'm going to try and go as wide as we can around this area and avoid all the earth stuff.
So you just put it in reverse. You kind of do like a little wheel around, and then you just kind of gun it off into the wasteland. And because you're driving, because they're not, you're able to outpace. Maybe a shot or two connects. Maybe a shot or two from Rika and Ivan connects, and you can see like one of them drops, and then another one keeps firing, and then like some other little device in the back of the van suddenly explodes. But soon you outpace them. And as you continue to drive away, 10 minutes pass, your blood's beginning to settle a bit. And that's when you kind of see the wind begin to swirl. And you see the ground, like all these little particulates, this little matter begins to just kind of lift up off the ground itself and swirl until you see like around you, these small little funnels begin to form. But we'll worry about that next week as we'll go ahead and we'll stop it there for now. And hey, there we go. You guys are doing great.
We did it.
We're alive.
Did
Yeah.
it.
There you go.
I don't know that Verana's had her own stuff turned back on her like that before, and that
Critical
was
fail, man. That's rough. Snake eyes are rough. Absolutely rough.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, Garricus, everyone's in the van. We're driving away. Motorcycle I was destroyed. I'm not sure how much you caught, but everyone's okay. We've got some injuries to tend to, and it looks like there are some funnels that are beginning to form around you. So we'll call it there. Let's do some closing plugs. Let's get on out of here. Let's see where we start. Adam, what's going on with Cannon Otter?
Same old. We are busy working on some Monster Boyfriend catalog content because somebody decided to add some more.
I did.
And so we have been gleefully working on more, coming up with all sorts of internal jokes that we can shove in there for Skin City. But in the meantime, you can always check out Teenage Odyssey and go to store.canonotter.com and help donate to Chuck's Chicken Nugget
Perfect. Very good.
fund.
Singular?
Not
As long as we get
donate.
the one?
I mean, you'd be buying a book. So
Okay. Right on. Chuck, yeah, anything you want to follow up with on that?
Yeah, go buy my book. And then, yeah, like Adam said, we're moving farther on Skin City. I finished up the last chunk that I had to do, but I also piled on a shitload of more work on Adam in the process. So it's a never-ending battle. But Wednesday, we're going to be playing Jeremy, what the hell's the name of that game?
Savage Rifts.
Savage Rifts. That's it. And Friday, we're kicking off our brand new Cyberpunk campaign.
Awesome. With Cyberpunk Red, right? You're doing the
Cyberpunk
modern.
Red. Yeah.
Nice.
With heavily modified hacking rules.
Super modified hacking rules.
Joe, you're still doing was it Salvage Union on Saturdays or every other Saturday or something?
Yep, still doing Salvage Union. We had to delay last session because Bert is living in the apocalypse right now. But once he is back online, we'll be doing that not this Saturday, but the next Saturday. And they will be trying to harvest mushrooms off the back of a kaiju. It'll be good.
Yay.
Wow. It's like we share a brain. Wait for the rest of this adventure. Okay. Maitre, where can we find you on the internet?
I am Mighty Plays Games on YouTube, where I make system agnostic or multi-system content that centers the gameplay that you should check out if you want to check out.
Awesome. And everyone's links are always in the descriptions and such. So check those out if you're listening to this or watching this later. As for us, first I start off talking about Huckleberry. Our dear friend Steven has been working very hard and diligently. He's going to laugh if he's in the chat and I use those words. But he's been working very hard on this awesome horror Western cinematic style game. We played it on the channel a couple months ago. You can see it here on the Lollygaggers. But just released about a month ago at this point, an adventure I wrote, new stuff coming very soon as well. And yeah, huckleberryrpg.com. As for the rest of our streaming schedule tomorrow night, Kipser is running us through some Perils and Princesses, where mushrooms also featured in that last time too, and they were trying to kick our ass. Yeah. So running theme, I think, since we met one nice mushroom, Boars, and after that, they've all just been trying to kill us. Thursday, Swords of the Serpentine. Haven't put mushrooms in there yet, but I could. I suppose I could. There's probably fungus growing somewhere in those nasty ass basements and stuff. So
yeah, I mean, there's so much water around.
Friday we've got Dragonbane with Aaron, who pops back into the GM seat, and then on Saturday we're going to be doing some Han Cluster, which is a Savage Worlds game. It's going to be coming up on Backer Kit next month. Our dear friend Tracy Sizemore of Holler fame is designing that. So come watch us play. We just started up. It was a lot of fun. And then we'll be back next Monday with more Otherscape. We are now going to raid. So let's raid Talking XP. Looks like they're doing some Ravenloft. So follow that raid. Have a great rest of your night. We'll see y'all later. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.